I think then it's my favorite portion of the show. I like to call it shots. So you don't have to do shots, but they are going to be rapid fire questions.
Oh my
So,
gosh. Let's see if my brain can keep up with you. Okay. I have some
all
whiskey in
right.
my body.
There you go. You got the whiskey. I have everything on hand. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready. All right. Very good. Here we go. So,
Okay.
Chihuahua apocalypse. Fake
Oh.
news or weaponize your flip flops now and prepare for war.
I have a flip flop and I know how to use it. I can hit you across the room 20 paces and don't piss me
Because at the deflection and everything was bad.
off. Right. They're called chanclas in my neck of the woods. And it doesn't matter if your mother is 5 foot tall, you're going to run.
I'm sure. Well, that's funny because my wife she says she's 5'2". She's somewhere between 5 and 5'2", right?
Right.
I'm 6'1", between 6'1" and 6'2". So you would think like I would be a scarier one, just being this like huge person. I have dreams that I get stuck walking through the house. Like I literally just get stuck. I was telling my wife that. And then the next day I'm walking, I kept getting caught on things. And she's like, that's why, because every time you walk through the house, you get caught on things. But no one's afraid of me. They're afraid of her because, and rightfully so, they should very much be afraid of her because I will do nothing, but she will flip flop, whatever she has in hand, she will use.
It's method of discipline.
Very good. Yeah.
When I was younger, I used to spend my days at the gym, and I was pretty buff. And my husband, who's also 6'1", would tell people, don't piss me off because my wife can beat you up. And I'm barely 5 foot, so I get where she's coming from.
Very good. Very good. So what is an irrational fear and what is something you love irrationally?
An irrational fear are daddy long legs.
Oh, really?
I don't know why. It could be because my brother used to chase me with them, maybe, and I don't recall. But I'd rather be in a room full of tigers than have one in my room. And I'm just petrified of them. I put borax around the outside of my doors and like you sprinkle salt at a witchy ceremony because I'm someday I'll be 90, one will get on me and I'll die. That's how I'll go.
Yeah.
And what was the rest of the question?
Something you love irrationally.
I love irrational day. If I'm having a bad day and I feel like I've overused my brain, I will watch really bad reality and not even think about it. So that's probably a very big guilty pleasure that happens just once in a while. So that's irrational for me to love.
Right. Awesome. And maybe we cover this, we've talked so much about quote unquote paranormal stuff earlier, but what is the strangest thing you have ever witnessed?
Most likely the thing that I saw in New Mexico, the plane that flew by, it was right there and it wasn't. It was as if it disappeared into thin air, and everybody keeps telling me it was a stealth and they have this technology that with mirrors or whatever, but it was just too quick. And there was a whole parking lot full of people that did see it, so that was very unusual to see. And I'm just waiting for the aliens to pick me, Bill. I'm ready.
You're ready for a trip. I sometimes, right? You're like you don't want to see a ghost, but then you do, right? It's like you don't want to see the aliens, but you do. Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to broadcast it too much, but if it happens, maybe you get to meet the aliens.
My mother, when she was probably 80 something, and I just saw a green thing flash by our window, and she was so dead set that it was a UFO. And the next day, I read in the paper that there were unexplained green lights that had flashed through Denver. And so she actually had seen
Oh,
something.
wow. That's
But it
really
was,
neat.
yeah, it was really neat.
Yeah.
And one time I was in my backyard and it was one of those really cold days where the air is thick and the sky looks kind of pink when it's so cold. And
Mhm.
I look up and there were, I'm sure it was drones, but they had to have been far away and it was doing figure eights and loop-de-loos in the sky. And I thought, well, this could be satellites or Skylink,
Mhm.
but it was just not in a straight line. So that was really odd too.
Uh-huh. Sure.
That was a strange thing to see.
What is the strangest, potentially self-incriminating thing you've Googled this week?
Uh, uh, let me see. I probably have Googled, oh, you're gonna laugh, tummy tuck pictures. What after a tummy tuck picture and what it should look like. And then I closed it down really fast.
Yeah, that's funny. It's always fun asking writers that because, like, sometimes I'll be on my phone or something, and they'll be like, "What are you looking up?" I'm like, "Oh, it's this
Mhm.
idea I had,"
Right,
and there's no way to explain it from there,
right,
right? It's like,
right.
"Oh,
It
and
just
this is the story, and this is why I'm doing that." In fact, last night we were sitting. Michaela was here with her boyfriend Luke, and then we were all around like watching one of the old Marvel movies, and they had made dinner for us and stuff. So we're sitting there, and I had this note, and the satire I've been working on since the beginning of the time. I'm just finishing up. It's called Pirates of Appalachia, and there's a little section in there where I call it the pirate chorus. There's kind of a Greek chorus between chapters, but it's social media.
Mhm.
And so I don't know much about it because I never like I don't like it. It bores me to tears and things. But I'm like, oh, I know there's the swiping left and right, but I can never remember which one's a good thing or
Which one's
bad,
good
right?
and
So
which is
so I
bad.
look at those and we're like, oh, what's Tinder say on this? And they're like, why do you want to know? Are you on Tinder? Like, what are you doing? You're like bumbling over there next to your wife. I'm like, no. Hi, this character, and she's writing this song, and it's like there's no way to actually like to not seem like a crazy person
Right.
once you're in
I'm
that
sure that
position.
my Google history could land me in Sing Sing, you know,
Right?
because you got to get this right. And then it's interesting and you go off on another tangent and you have to look something else up. And, in between those 10 minutes or so that turn into 3 hours, you
Right.
look like a serial killer, you know. Um,
Sure.
but that's part of the joy of the job, I think. It's looking up
Mhm.
inappropriate things.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we have a question from the audience here. So I'll read this quote here. So hi Sue, DC from MI here, and I'm wondering about your thoughts on commas. Big fan, but it often appears as if you treat commas like socks. Everyone has some, and they are usually scattered haphazardly across the bedroom floor. How would you respond to DC?
I would say, DC, do I know you? Because I can spin a tale, I can get it from start to finish, but punctuation is like Greek to me.
Mhm,
And
sure.
I can do it, but when I get on a roll, it's just gone. And I'm told it's like I take a handful of commas and throw them up in the air and they just fall in my manuscript and wherever they are, then Dario fixes it.
Right. Well,
You
very
know?
good. Very good.
But we have a complicated relationship, commas and
Sure. Yeah, and I'll put it up here if I remember. Future me, remember to put it up here. I always joke the show is 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, right? Almost every guest on here is like referred from someone else, and Dario Cherriello was nice enough to put us in contact. So
yeah, I'm
up
so
there
glad
will
he
be a
did.
link to his episode. If future me remembers when he's editing this, so we'll see how well that guy does. He's probably
I can't
drinking too
wait for
much
your
already.
podcast on ghosts because and like I've got all kinds of stories.
Uh-huh. Right. Yeah, I know. I have to do it. Once we get this one well enough off the ground, that's the next podcasting endeavor. And lastly, the most important question of shots: favorite podcast And why is it Writers Drinking Whiskey?
Well, I have been watching your show for a long time, and I always thought I would be so nervous to be on it if I were to be. And I'm not nervous one bit. I don't know whether it's the alcohol or
It's the
if you just
booze.
put your well, then we'll just blame it on. But I do love your show. And on YouTube, it's called Twilight Zone Radio Theater or something of that nature.
Okay.
And they're old Twilight Zone episodes. And there's nothing more relaxing to me than putting on headphones and listen to that crackly radio sound and
Sure.
a scary story in the dark,
Mhm. I believe it. I have to check that one out. I love. There's
after,
one. What's that? Oh, after.
after your
It's a YouTube show. I don't know if he does it as a podcast too, but what's the name of it? What Lurks Beneath? I think that's the name.
that sounds interesting.
And he just people write in stuff and then he reads some. But he does a really nice job reading them to where it's not. Sometimes people get a little too corny and it kind of loses me from the story, or they have no inflection, which is a weird thing. Me and my wife try to find things to listen to all the time, and if it's someone, she goes, "Why is it a robot?" Like, I think it's actually a person. It's like, no, they're reading like a robot. Change it. But he does a really nice job. I mean, I like that too. I feel my earphones if I'm working around the house or the yard and whatnot. I'm like, okay, I'll just turn this in. So it always gives me something to look forward to. I'm going to go work out. I can put this in. I get to hear about the ghosts or the werewolves and skinwalkers.
I
And whatever
love it.
crazy
I
stuff.
love it. And YouTube is so good at having uh, either music to sleep by or it's almost like bedtime stories for adults. And they're so damn boring that, it's like 10 minutes in and you're out. And I'm like, how does anybody write this stuff without, just going face plant right into their computer? But works for me.
Very good. Awesome. So thanks for that. So thanks everybody for checking out this clip of Writers Drinking Whiskey. If you'd like to catch the full episode, click the link up here and please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and check out our members only section. Cheers.